afternoon, everyone. Test, test. Can y'all hear me? All right, we wanted to give you all a little time since everyone was still eating, and we weren't sure if y'all were listening anyway. Y'all listening? How's the food? All right, did y'all save me some? All right. All right. Well, my name is Dr. Michael Bookhardt. Thank you so much to Ms. Joanne Owens for that wonderful introduction, to Ms. Ella Lewis, founder, and I think I saw Mr. Mark Henderson. He was walking out earlier, so thank you all for the opportunity to be here. Also, and we wanted to make sure everyone was listening because this is going to be interactive. That's why I don't usually do PowerPoints or anything like that, because we need your full attention. This is interactive. So I need y'all to participate with me. It's a little bit different now. Y'all ready? Yeah. All right, everybody in the room, I need y'all to close your eyes. I'm serious now. And I'm looking to make sure y'all ain't peeking, all right? All right. Everybody, I see some people still looking now. I need y'all to participate. Everyone in the room, please close your eyes. I want you to imagine yourself on your back with your hands to your side, not moving. Things are getting a whole lot quieter. Man, it's getting a little stuffy, you know? Make sure those eyes are still closed now, because you're not seeing anything but darkness, okay? Next thing you know, you feel like you're being lowered. You feel like your body is sinking. You say, what's going on? And you keep trying to open your eyes and look around, but all you see is darkness. You don't know what's going on. And next thing you know, you feel like there's something being thrown, like a weight being thrown on top of you. Still nothing but darkness, right? You don't hear or see anything. You know what? This is what it feels like to be inside of a casket. You can open your eyes now. Did that get your attention? Okay. So this is called an annual exam or a ticket to the grave. The choice is yours. Now, test on. I want to talk to you all about, there's a story when I was a hospitalist working in South Jackson. There was a young man who came in with a blood sugar of 1,750. So you already know he definitely ended up in that casket. So, and I like to start out this talk with that because this is real. This happened in South Jackson. This is some of your family members, unfortunately, some of my family members. This is diabetes, okay? 2 types of diabetes, but we're not here for all of that today. But you know what diabetes is. Some people label that as the sugar, right? So this gentleman, the reason why he came in with a glucose of 1,750, this guy was a construction worker here in Jackson, Mississippi, and he had never been to the doctor in 25 years. Right, exactly. So that's why I said annual exam or ticket to the grave, because this gentleman, if he had simply come into his primary care doctor, we could have easily seen that he had diabetes. We could have started him on the appropriate medication. We could have done his annual screenings. We could have checked his prostate level, all that other stuff, given him his flu shot, all that stuff that we do. And instead, that visual and that experience that you all just experienced, for those of you that close your eyes, that's the feeling that this guy had. Although, of course, he wasn't experiencing much because he was dead. So this is something that is preventable. And so that's why we wanted to make sure that you hear the message and stress the importance of this. This is so important. Also, so what is an annual exam? An annual exam is a chance to discuss any concerns with your doctor or provider to see how well you're managing chronic conditions, to set health goals. It also may include routine screenings such as blood tests, and it helps your doctor to understand the big picture of what's going on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what subset of people, what race or what ethnicity would you all say are more likely to develop chronic illnesses and disabilities than any other ethnic group in the United States? Who is that? Black people. And who's sitting up in this room today? Okay, I'm making sure y'all listen. So, more than any other ethnic group in the United States, and African Americans tend to experience these chronic conditions and complications earlier in life. Some statistics of these disparities include high blood pressure or hypertension. African Americans more likely to develop high blood pressure earlier in life and higher levels than white Americans. For example, 12% of African Americans aged 18 to 34 have high blood pressure compared to 10% of white Americans at the same age. Diabetes. African Americans more than twice as likely to develop diabetes as white Americans. The thing is, I'm gonna stop there. So it's like this. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to go to the doctor because I don't want to get any bad news. Isn't that crazy? So you're telling me that you would rather be in that same casket that we talked about, rather than just simply getting an annual exam and finding out whether you have diabetes or whether you have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. All of these things lead to heart disease. All of these things lead to sickness, to illness, and ultimately to death. We talk about, there are a lot of people in the church and different places that go around limping and they're on that thing, that little scooter device like that because their foot has been amputated, cut off. Well, why is that? Most likely it's because of diabetes and poor circulation. Well, these things also can be prevented. Some people say, well, everybody in my family has diabetes. I was just gonna get it anyway. And that may be true. You might have been, you were probably predisposed to get diabetes or high blood pressure at some point. But these things can be easily treated. And we're passionate about that because it's affecting our people right here. This isn't something that we're seeing at the White House. This isn't something that we're seeing in other countries. It's right here in Jackson. It's right here. And so the other thing is, let's talk about obesity real quick, because look, we know where we are in the South, and people like good tasting food, highly seasoned. This food, it looks good here, So everybody likes all that extra salt. There are some people who start pouring salt on their food before even tasting it. That's ridiculous. You don't even know what the food tastes like. You start pouring salt, you start putting sugar, and some things I just don't even understand, but that is what people do. And, we talk about saying, well, a lot of people in my family are just big boned or something like that. That's what I've always been hearing in the South. Let me tell y'all something. There's no such thing as big bone, okay? Your bones are the same size as anybody else. You just big, okay? All right. I'll make sure I got y'all's attention now. Don't get the itis on me and go to sleep after eating now, okay? So let's just go on and dispel those rumors. There's no such thing as being big bone. The human being, if any of y'all have seen basically a corpse, dead body, or done any anatomy, when you look at the human body, the person is deceased, and you dissect that body, and you look at the bone structure, it is the same. Another myth that people say, well, you're only as old as you feel, or 50 is the new 40, 60 is the new 40. I can tell you this, it don't matter how much Ozempic you take, how much weight loss, your body, if you're 65, and you might look good for your age, but your body is still 65, okay? Arthritis in the joints and everything. So on top of that, we can put all the makeup, all the wigs and weave that we want. I know, you're listening now. You're listening now. I see some wigs in here. See, they're listening now. They're listening now. Okay. All right. So, but I know that's funny and everything, but this is very serious. The point is that we have got to do better. And how do we do better? Is again, by going and seeing your primary care provider. This is something that, and look, and if you don't have one, we wanted to make sure that we dispel all the rumors. Nobody has an excuse in this room. Right here, at this table, there's a clinic called Good Faith Wellness Center. If people would say, well, Dr. Bookhardt, I don't have insurance. You don't need it, because I came up with a plan that says $99 a month, and you can come to this clinic every single day if you want to for $99 a month. That's less than your cell phone. I pay more than that for my AT&T service. Shout out to AT&T. So if you don't have insurance, $99 a month, there's a pamphlet right there. Unlimited visits for that whole month. You have no excuse. If you do have insurance, well, we take every single insurance out there. Cigna, Aetna, Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare, your mama's Cade, Jesus Cade, okay? So we made sure that with Good Faith Wellness Center, nobody has an excuse to why they can't have an annual exam, right? We made sure, so nobody has an excuse. All right, let's go back to the topic. So, cancer. African American men, 40% higher cancer death rate than white men. Black women have a 20% higher cancer death rate than white women. Now, why is that? Okay, we'll talk about prostate cancer for the men in the room. It's only a few of us I see, but for the men in the room, this is the old-fashioned way was it's slightly a little bit graphic, but this is what it is. We have to lubricate, the physician will lubricate his or her hands, fingers, and you have to go through a person's rectum, and you get through the anus up into the rectum to palpate the prostate gland. Very uncomfortable, and a lot of men feel like, hey, I don't want no doctor doing that, especially if he's got large fingers. So I'm not coming to him. So a lot of men would not want to have a prostate exam. And the majority of African American men end up with prostate cancer. My father had prostate cancer. But now we have something called the PSA, prostate specific antigen, that is checked in the blood. So we can do a simple blood test and check your PSA level. And we go from there. If it's high, then we do some other testing, then you might be referred to a urologist and all that kind of stuff. But by doing a simple blood test, that's a screening exam. And when we talk about cancer women, we're talking about, breast cancer mainly. When it comes to breast cancer, a lot of people will say, well, I don't want to have a mammogram, and I'm sure that must be uncomfortable. But would you rather have a mammogram and an ultrasound and possibly a biopsy, or would you rather be in that same casket that we talked about? Right? So these are things, prostate cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer. These are things that nobody in America should be dying from. These are things that are easily detectable. Some of them are preventable. And especially with diabetes and hypertension and all that, they are easily treatable, simply with medication. Sometimes not even with medication. Sometimes we just all have to lose a little weight and push back from the table a little bit. And so these are things that we don't need to die from. One other thing in here, we talk about HIV. In 2018, Black Americans accounted for 42% of new HIV diagnoses in the United States and 43% of all HIV-related deaths. The death rate for Black Americans with HIV is also higher than any other racial or ethnic group. And also, I'm here to tell you that in Jackson, Mississippi, this is one of the leading cities in America for HIV. Yeah, I know that is shocking. So this tells us, like I said, HIV is yet another on an STD screening panel, screening for that, gonorrhea, chlamydia, all those other things. We test for all of that at Good Faith Wellness Center. And also at your primary care doctor's clinic or with your nurse practitioner or whoever your provider is. And lastly, peripheral arterial disease. This is one that's not highlighted as much because, again, we talk about the young man, the young lady in your church or in your family who's had toes amputated and all that kind of stuff, and you wonder why they keep getting amputations over and over and over again. Well, it's because when you have diabetes, and especially in the setting of peripheral arterial disease, which means I've got blockages, people say, in the blood vessel, all of that goes hand in hand. And so those people, if they don't get their act together, they don't go to get their annual exam, they don't get their diabetes tested, and they don't get it treated, they're gonna keep on getting, things cut off. I had a lady at Baptist Hospital when I was in my training years ago. I was in my residency program, and this lady, she was one of the kind of an older, real ornery lady, real mean lady, like one of them old mean deaconesses or something. Sorry. The one that you chewing gum that says, put it right here, put it in my hand right here. So I told this crazy lady, I'm sorry, Jesus. I told this lady, I said, ma'am, she had had 2 or 3 toes already amputated at Baptist Hospital. And I came in the room and I said, man, you've got to get this together. You know, your hemoglobin A1C is 12, you know, and we, you know, normally, so you diagnose diabetes A1C of 6.5 or greater. She was at 12. So that's clearly full-blown, out of control. Her blood sugar probably averages around 400 at home, 380, that's what that means. So I told her, it's gonna get to the point, ma'am, that we're just going to have to go on and cut your leg off. She told me, she said, ain't no way in hell, young doctor, you gonna cut my leg off. That ain't happening. I said, ma'am, it's gonna happen. And she had her, if you can imagine, her great toe, her big toe, was literally black. Black. And when I did the physical exam, listened to her heart and lungs and all that, and I was checking her pulses to see if she had blood flow to her legs, when I touched the toe, it was basically almost crispy, like, yeah, and I just pulled her toe right off.
Stop.
That dead for real. She's definitely dead now. I'll let you know that. She's definitely dead. But I pulled her toe off. And that same hospital so she signed out, I think that lady signed out against medical advice and left the hospital. She came back and got an above the knee amputation, okay? Yeah. So again, I give these graphic stories because I want to get your attention and I want to let you know that this is something that is real, that is happening, and that is affecting our people. And at some point, we've got to stop with excuses, and it's got to stop, guys. And I'm only telling you this because I care. You know, most of us, you see these doctors on TV and all that kind of stuff, most of them don't care. I'll be honest with you. They don't care about it. The more sick people, I'm gonna tell you this. As a hospitalist, right? When I work in the hospital, in the contract as a hospitalist, literally in my contract, the more sick black people that come to see me, I get paid thousands of dollars more. Yeah, it's called RVU incentive, relative value units. So that means that if I see more than 19 patients a day in the hospital, that's my quota. So if I keep more sick people on my list, I'm gonna get paid thousands of dollars more to have you sick. Y'all hearing me now? Y'all hearing me now? I'm telling y'all, and this is in the majority of hospital employed physicians' contracts. And I'm only telling you this because, again, right now, since I am a free agent technically and I work for myself, praise God, so I can, thank you all. So I'm able to say these things, and you know, one of the things is, and I won't take up too much time. I know we started a little late. I think I got about 12 minutes more. So I say these things because it troubles me, you know. And I was working in a particular city here in Mississippi. I'm not gonna call the name, but it's about an hour and 35 minutes away from Jackson. If you take 55 south and you're going towards New Orleans, but don't go that far yet, and it's still in Mississippi, and it's a town that starts with the letter M and rhymes with Macomb. Okay. All right. You didn't hear from me. So I'm at this hospital. This is real talk. And older African Americans are coming in with heart disease and coming in with heart attacks. We call that an end-stemming, meaning that that's based on the blood levels, the troponin level going up. So basically we're saying that a person is having an acute heart attack right now. These black people are coming into this facility, and the particular heart specialist at the time, who was an atheist, so he doesn't believe in God, he says, well, if somebody's 65 years or older, he says, I feel like Dr. Bookhardt, they've had their better years are behind them. So I figured I'll just let them go on home, and if they make it, they make it. And we'll talk about it later. I said, Dr. So-and-so, but this person is having a heart attack right now. He says, well, yeah, but I'll just see him in clinic. This is his response to me, yeah. And I go to I wrote this doctor up a couple of times. I went to the hospital administration, and they fired me. Yeah, yes they did. So I'm letting you all know through my own experience, because I've always been a champion for our people, and that ain't gonna never stop, and I don't care who we are. Let's go. So, I'm just letting you all know that this is real. So when people say, because people tell me I don't need a primary doctor, I just go get my annual at the urgent cares, and nothing against MEA, because I love them, but they'll say, well, I just go to MEA and get my, or I don't really have a primary doctor, or I just go to the hospital if something is wrong. That's the last place you want to be. I just told you all that they have people there literally being okay with you having a heart attack and dying and doing nothing. And I also told you that in doctors' contracts, the more sick people we keep in the hospital, the more money we make. I'm telling you that. The more money the doctor makes, the more money the hospital makes. I'm talking thousands of dollars every quarter. Big bonus to the doctor, okay? So that's why an annual exam, I say, or a ticket to the grave. The choice is yours. Going to see your primary doctor can prevent this. It can prevent you from being that woman who lost her toes, who got her leg amputated and died. It can prevent you from being that unfortunate soul who was had the blood sugar 1,750. It can prevent all of these things by just going and having an annual exam. A few other stats here. Men, 72% of men avoid doctors. Well, why is that? I told you all about how to do the old-fashioned way of doing a prostate exam, which is going through the rectum and all that, and men say, oh no, doctor, you ain't gonna put no hand on mine. No. So a lot of men think about that. They don't want to have a colonoscopy. Same thing. People say, well, it's too much to drink that big bottle of Go Lightly, and I'm on the toilet all night preparing for colonoscopy. And I tell these patients, I said, does this make a lot of sense to you? You don't want to drink a gallon of Go Lightly and be on the toilet, so you'd rather be dead. Now, come on, man. This don't make no sense. It doesn't make sense. So you just really have to think about it like that. And the crazy thing is, more people are concerned about their bodies and getting a BBL and having Ozempic. They come to me to get Ozempic, let me get Ozempic. And that's fine, but what you have to understand is these drugs all have side effects. And when you get all these things and BBLs and all that, for the young ladies in here that's thinking about it, when you get a BBL, you can't even sit down on your behind for like a month. Delta has a plane that comes from Miami that has seats where you sit like this, face forward, face down, because you can't sit down. Ain't that crazy? So you'd rather put all your emphasis in having a lumpy behind than getting a screening done, right? There you go, exactly. I appreciate it, thank you. So, the thing is this. Because I know I've said a lot of things and we've had a lot of kind of wild moments and all that, and that's the effect that I wanted to have. But the good part is this, and we're going to leave it on a good, positive note. The thing is, majority of people in this room still have time, This is almost like the altar call in church, Is there but one? A lot of people still have time, seriously. You've still got time to make sure that your foot doesn't get cut off, to make sure that nobody in your family dies from colon cancer. The first, when I moved to Mississippi 12 years ago, I went to a church off of 220 somewhere. And I remember that they were saying, the family is in mourning for this brother, blah, blah, blah. And he had an asthma attack. And I said, of all the cities and states that I've been in, that I've done my training in, I've never heard of somebody, an adult, dying from asthma. That's insane. This is something that is easily preventable and treated by simply being on the right inhalers, taking an inhaler twice a day. Now with the new ones, once a day. Taking an inhaled medication, 2 puffs once a day, would have prevented this man from dying. But he had no doctor. So again, the positives of this, everybody in this room still has time. Everybody in this room can have their A1C checked to make sure they don't have diabetes. If you have diabetes, then we can treat that. Everybody in this room, 50, well now 45 years or older and African American, having a colonoscopy. Everybody in here, we can set that up with GI associates or whoever you want. We can have colonoscopy done, and let's find out. Everybody in here, people sexually active, young people, whoever, we can do an STD screening panel and make sure that you don't have HIV, make sure you don't have any other sexually transmitted disease or anything like that. So that's the good part about it. You still have time. And so the recommendations for healthy living: walking, just walking, 30 to 40 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week. We can do that. We can make time for that. People that are able to take stairs and don't have any heart issues or lung problems, maybe take a flight of stairs. Or, you know, if you work on the 4th floor, see if you can take 2 flights of stairs and then take the elevator for the rest. That's the easy way. If you're smoking cigarettes, there's 20 cigarettes in one pack, 20 cigarettes. I tell my patients, look, let's just be honest here. We know that you're not gonna quit cigarettes. We know you ain't gonna quit. Everybody who smokes says, I'm gonna quit cold turkey. We all know that's a lie, okay? Let's stop kidding ourselves. You're not gonna stop smoking tomorrow. It's not gonna happen. So instead of doing 20 cigarettes a day, let's do 10. Thank you very much. See, you read my mind. You read my mind. Y'all done digested all that food. So that's what we want to give: real choices, real examples, and real treatment options for our people. And so, again, just walking 30, 40 minutes a day, taking the stairs when you can. Cut down on cigarettes, going to see your primary doctor. If you don't have one, you know what? Hey, if you don't have a doctor, what's the name of our clinic? Good Faith Wellness Center. Pamphlets right there. And how much per month? How much? 90. Y'all look great. Y'all great audience. $99 a month. Unlimited visits. You can't beat that. 2506 Lakeland Drive, Suite 310, 3rd floor. So right, it's a 6-story building across from Applebee's next to GI Associates. Right there, conveniently located. So, and if you have insurance, we take right now United giving me a problem, but every single insurance carrier right now we do take it. So with that said, I'm going to conclude this talk. You all have been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much.